What I'm about to share with you is a very common bug that can happen in the code, and it's also very tricky to find and fix. And if you don't have this bug right now, you are going to have it. It's almost inevitable. And you're going to waste a lot of time debugging it and a lot of resource maintaining it. But I'm going to break it down for you, okay? So you always know how to deal with it. Sounds good? Let's get into it. First thing I want you to do is to go to your resource management part in your server. Then I want you to look in the CPU usage and the memory usage section. And whenever that the CPU is high, like here and here, I want you to look in the memory and see how memory react that high CPU usage, okay? Here you can see the RAM goes up, then here it goes up. The problem is when it goes up, it stays there. You see here, it stays there. It doesn't come back down. Why does it come back down? You might say that, well, getting more users, so we should probably increase our resource and get more RAM and it will just fix the problem. But the thing is, your code is probably not that much heavy and you probably can handle more user with the same resource, because this chart is wrong. Like, this is not normal. A normal chart should look like this. It goes up, then it comes down, then slowly goes up, then it comes down, then it comes down. So this is a normal RAM usage chart. You see that when it goes up, it comes back down. This chart that I have here is not normal. That means something's wrong. But the problem is, if I look at my log on the server, or if I try to debug the code, or if I look at my database, everything seems working. Everything seems fine. Like my logic is correct, my code's working, I have unit tests, I have end-to-end tests, everything seems working. So if you only look at the code or the log, you cannot identify the problem. We should somehow try to debug the memory, try to debug the RAM. But how do you do that? Well, there are some tools out there that allows you to debug your memory. They usually name something like heap snapshot or something like that. You can find different heap snapshot according to your use case. Like if you're using Java, if you're using JavaScript, if you're using Python, you can find different snapshot tools. Let's write a function that take heap snapshot, and I'm gonna name it something like this. So what you should do with this snapshot is you have to create a snapshot in the beginning when you start your server, and you want to take another snapshot after a few hours so you can compare how that memory is growing. I'm gonna create one snapshot when I start the server. You can see it right here. Now, if I want to simulate too much traffic on my server, I can use a tool called load test. You can find it on GitHub. And when you install it, you can say, send this amount of requests and use this amount of concurrency to this URL. So I'm gonna use this to let my server run for 5 to 10 minutes. Then I'm gonna take the second snapshot. Now, if we look at the RAM usage, you can see that it's going up. So let me send more and more requests. My memory usage is going up, but it's never coming back down. Now let's take the second heap snapshot. All right, so I have a before and after snapshot. Let's open them up and see if we can find the problem. I'm gonna right click, inspect. I'm gonna go to memory, import. The first file is only 5 megabyte. The second file is 600 megabyte. I can choose the first one, and in the statistic, I can see how much different things are taking my RAM. Some of it is my code, some of it is a string, some of it is a type array or system. And when we go at the second snapshot, you can see the string part is taking the whole RAM. So there is something wrong here. This string should not be this big. So this ratio should maintain during the application. But here you can see that a string is getting all the space. So go to the second one, then choose comparison. And from here, choose the version 1. So I'm comparing the version 2 to version 1. And you can see here there are different columns. The one that's very important is this delta. Delta means how much it changed. And you can see the string part, it's been added something around 7 million. but only 400 of that has been deleted. Okay, so what you want to see here is this new and deleted. You want them to be around the same number. So when you add something to your memory, there is something called garbage collector that will go through your memory and try to find objects that you don't need or spaces that you don't need, and it will delete them from the memory. So this new and this deleted number should be around the same in your memory snapshot. If it's not, that means the garbage collector can't remove certain things. Let's go through the string and see what comes up. Here you can see that there's a weird string here that's been repeated over and over again. It's too much of that going on here. It's about 7 million of that. If I click on one of them here on the second panel, you can see that there's an array in my code and it says the index 400. Now if I choose another one, the same array but different index. That means in my code there is an array that's becoming bigger and bigger, but it never cleans up. That basically means I have an array in my code, I'm pushing things to it, and I'm never removing anything from it. And in the code, you can see that I have a global array that I'm just pushing data to it, and that leads to this memory leak that we have here. This is how you can debug a memory leak in your application. And when you have memory leak, your memory usage is gonna go up and up, and it never has the chance to come down. You can always snapshot your heap and look for memory leak. Now, this whole process might take a few hours or maybe a few days for you to go through the heap and try to figure out which file or which function is leaking and getting all the memory. But there's also a temporary solution here, which I do not recommend you to do it. But if you're on production or you have a server that's running and you cannot stop it or pause it, you just want to have a temporary solution for a few hours, and only, again, I do not recommend this, but you can do it for a few hours. You can call the garbage collector manually, and that will clean up your memory for a few hours or a few minutes. So that could be a temporary solution, which again, I do not recommend you to do it. And it really doesn't matter which language you're using. If you're using Python, you can still create this snapshot. If you found this video helpful and you enjoyed the style that we have here, I have a whole playlist that I walk you through how I created a desktop application, and I explain each step so you can follow and learn different technology as I go through it. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.